When do you take responsibility for your actions? You had the shot.
Katt was in that position at one point.
You were the guy. You were set up to be the star. You didn't show up to work. You fucked off promo shoots. You fucked off your promo fucking trips that they had set up for you. You became a risk to the studios, which is why the studios stopped fucking with you.
Why was he a risk?
He chose drugs.
One of the most unforgettable moments from Netflix's roast of Kevin Hart came when Katt Williams made a shocking, unannounced appearance, stepping into the room to face the very man he'd been feuding with for years. What followed was raw and relentless. In front of a live audience, Williams didn't hold back a single word, methodically unpacking exactly why he'd had a problem with Kevin Hart all this time. And in the most direct, cutting fashion imaginable, he called Hart a sellout and a puppet right to his face.
Kevin, you were awesome tonight. I have huge respect for Kevin Hart. Kevin loves seeing himself on the big screen. For him, that's an iPad mini. I love Kevin Hart's career plan. Do everything Martin Lawrence did, only shittier.
Now, as the night's roasters continue making the media rounds, Roastmaster General Jeff Ross is pulling back the curtain, giving the world a rare glimpse into what was actually happening behind the scenes the moment Katt Williams walked through that door. Speaking with Variety, Ross openly admitted that Williams's arrival sent a very real wave of tension through the room and straight toward Kevin Hart. In his own words, the only moment the night felt genuinely charged was when Katt Williams appeared out of nowhere and just started unloading on Kevin. No warning, no buildup, just fire. And according to Ross, Hart felt every bit of it. Kevin looked visibly tense, like two men who hadn't been in the same space for a very long time were suddenly forced to confront years of unresolved history. But Kevin had come into that night wanting peace. He'd asked for the hatchet to be buried, and somehow, almost instantly, what started as tension slowly shifted into something resembling celebration. Now, for those who need the full picture, Hart and Williams have been at odds for nearly 2 decades, and Ross's comments only confirm how deep that distance ran. Back in 2024, during a candid conversation with Shannon Sharpe, Williams revealed that the two hadn't physically been inside the same building together in close to 25 years, and made it clear he believed Hart had been deliberately avoiding him the entire time.
They invited me. That's how little star power you have. They had to start inviting your enemies. I said, I hate him. They said, come anyway. Very humble of me to be at your goat roast tonight, Kevin.
During his time on stage, Williams made no secret of his motivation. He was there for the Netflix check, plain and simple. But for anyone who's been paying close attention to Williams over the past few years, there's clearly a bigger picture at play. He appears to be in a season of his career where redirecting energy actually makes sense. Having recently launched his own production company and a brand new studio, the man has serious business to build. Back in his Variety conversation, Ross also let slip something revealing, that Hart himself had a hand in making Williams's invitation happen in the first place. Ross put it plainly. Kevin isn't just a great comic, he's a sharp producer. He has a gift for leaning into discomfort, because he understands that wherever the tension is, that's exactly where the magic lives on camera. Ross described it as a group brainstorm, a collective decision to figure out who could bring the most electricity to the room. Katt Williams was the answer, and he delivered. He walked out dressed like a villain and walked off feeling like a friend. What makes it even more striking, according to Ross, the two men likely hadn't spoken a single word to each other until that very moment on television. As of now, Williams has stayed quiet about the night, offering no further reflection on whether his long-running conflict with Hart is truly behind them. And despite the on-screen hug, a significant portion of the internet remains unconvinced, with many pointing to Williams's paid appearance as reason to believe the reconciliation may have been more performance than reality.
If you actually think that Kevin Hart and Katt Williams squashed their beef at his roast last night, Katt Williams is always going to tell you the truth, okay? And he said in his act that this was him selling out. He needed the money. Katt Williams obviously found an amount of money that was acceptable to him as a father with children who are no doubt college age by now, a person who might want to retire at some point. He found an amount that was okay for him. There was no hesitation. The man was shifting from foot to foot. He just did not want to shake that man's hand, but he realized he had to do what he had to do to complete the contract to earn his money. But
when it comes to the overall reception of the roast, The verdict has been anything but unanimous. Reactions landed all over the map, with part of the disappointment stemming from missed opportunities, particularly the absence of heavy hitters like Eddie Murphy or Dave Chappelle, names that many felt could have elevated the entire night to another level. But the more heated criticism came from a different place entirely. A large wave of viewers took serious issue with some of the racial humor throughout the evening, most notably a joke delivered by Tony Hinchcliffe involving George Floyd, which ignited its own firestorm of debate. That controversy only deepened when it came to light that a significant portion of the night's material had been crafted by a predominantly white writing team, a detail that SNL's Michael Che didn't hesitate to call out publicly. For many, that revelation didn't just raise eyebrows about the roast. It quietly validated everything Katt Williams had been saying about Kevin Hart all along. So let's keep this conversation going in the comments. Do you genuinely believe the beef between Kevin Hart and Katt Williams is finished? Or was that moment on stage more carefully produced than it appeared? And if you want to stay locked in on everything happening in comedy, culture, and sports, subscribe right now and hit that notification bell. Because you want all of it, not just what the algorithm decides to show you. Head over to Viral Peepers, and if there's a story you think deserves coverage, drop it in the comments, and I'll make sure we get to it.